The separation. Dr. Maya Chen pressed her palm against the observation deck's cool metal surface, watching the twin suns of the Kepler system paint the morning sky in brilliant shades of amber and rose. Behind her, soft crystalline chimes filled the air as her adopted daughter Luna played with her favorite light prism toy. The 3-year-old Zephyrian child's translucent skin caught the morning light, creating dancing rainbows across their small apartment's walls. Maya turned from the viewport, her heart swelling with the familiar warmth she felt every time she watched Luna. The child's large opalescent eyes looked up at her with pure trust and love, speaking volumes without words. Luna's people, the Zephyrians, communicated primarily through telepathic impressions, and over the past 2 years, Maya had learned to interpret her daughter's emotional broadcasts with remarkable accuracy. Luna's delicate crystalline fingers reached toward Maya, and the woman knelt beside her daughter on the soft carpet. The child's touch sent gentle waves of contentment and joy directly into Maya's mind, a sensation she had grown to treasure more than any spoken word. It reminded her of David, her late husband, who had first discovered Luna as an orphaned infant during a diplomatic mission to Zephyr Prime 3 years ago. David had been a xenoarchaeologist, passionate about building bridges between species. When he found Luna among the ruins of a destroyed settlement, her biological parents lost to a natural disaster, he had convinced Maya to begin the complex adoption process. The paperwork alone had taken months, but David's determination had been unwavering. He believed that love could transcend species boundaries, that family was defined by care and commitment rather than genetics. Maya's throat tightened as she remembered David's final words before the transport accident that claimed his oars. At his life 18 months ago, he had been holding Luna, whispering to Maya about their plans to expand their family, to become a beacon of hope for other interspecies adoptions. His death had shattered Maya's world, but Luna had become her anchor, her reason to continue their shared dream. The morning routine proceeded as always. Maya prepared Luna's specialized nutrition crystals, dissolved in a solution that would help maintain her daughter's unique physiology. Zephyrians didn't eat traditional food. Instead, they absorbed minerals and energy through their crystalline skin. Maya had spent months learning the precise balance of nutrients Luna needed, consulting with xenobiologists across the galaxy to ensure her daughter's healthy development. Luna's telepathic touch brushed against Maya's consciousness again, this time tinged with curiosity and excitement. The child had sensed something different about today, though Maya couldn't imagine what. Their daily schedule was routine: breakfast, educational programs, playtime in the biodome, and afternoon rest while Maya worked on her research. As the head xenobiologist for Kepler Station, Maya studied the physiological adaptations necessary for interspecies cohabitation. Her work had become increasingly important as more human-alien families formed throughout the galaxy. Luna served as both her inspiration and her most important case study, though Maya always ensured her research never compromised her daughter's privacy or well-being. The communication panel in their living area chimed softly, displaying Maya's colleague, Dr. James Patterson, on the screen. His usually cheerful face appeared tense as he delivered his message. Solar storm activity in the system had increased dramatically overnight, and all non-essential personnel were being advised to remain in their quarters until the station's enhanced shields could compensate for the increased radiation. Maya acknowledged the message and turned back to Luna, who was now standing near the viewport, her crystalline skin flickering with an unusual pattern of deep blue pulses. The child's emotional broadcast had shifted, carrying notes of anxiety and confusion that made Maya's heart race. Zephyrian children often demonstrated precognitive abilities during times of stress, and Luna's agitation suggested something more serious than a routine solar storm. The station's general alarm system suddenly blared to life, its harsh tone cutting through the morning calm like a blade. Maya's personal communicator buzzed with an emergency code she had hoped never to see. Catastrophic system failure, Immediate evacuation required. The enhanced shields hadn't just failed to compensate for the solar storm, they had been completely overwhelmed. Maya scooped Luna into her arms, feeling her daughter's crystalline skin grow warm against her chest. The child's telepathic distress signal intensified, broadcasting waves of fear and confusion that made Maya's head spin. She grabbed their emergency pack, a requirement for all station residents, and headed for the door. The corridors of Kepler Station had transformed into chaos. Families rushed toward evacuation points, carrying children and essential belongings. Emergency lighting cast everything in an eerie red glow, and the constant blare of alarms made communication nearly impossible. Maya held Luna tightly, whispering reassurances she wasn't sure either of them believed. At evacuation point Delta, Maya joined a crowd of nearly 200 people waiting for transport to the rescue vessels. Luna's crystalline skin had begun to dim, a sign of extreme stress in Zephyrian physiology. Maya tried to shield her daughter from the pushing crowd, but the limited space made it nearly impossible. Commander Sarah Mitchell appeared at Maya's side, her voice barely audible over the alarms. The evacuation ships could only take specific passenger loads due to life support limitations. Families were being prioritized, but essential personnel might need to wait for the second wave of transports. As head xenobiologist, Maya was considered essential, but Luna qualified for immediate evacuation as a minor. The decision tore at Maya's heart. She could see the first evacuation ship, the Aurora, through the viewing port. Its sleek hull gleamed under the emergency lighting, promising safety for the children and families boarding its ramps. Luna's telepathic touch had grown weak, her small body struggling to maintain stability under the station's failing radiation shields. Maya made the hardest choice of her life. She carried Luna to the Aurora's loading ramp, where volunteer caregivers were helping organize the evacuated children. Dr. Emily Ross, a pediatric specialist Maya had worked with for years, reached for Luna with gentle hands. Maya kissed her daughter's crystalline forehead, feeling one final pulse of love and trust from the child's fading telepathic abilities. The Aurora's boarding ramp sealed shut just as another alarm began sounding. The station's primary reactor was experiencing containment failures, and all remaining personnel needed to reach emergency shelters immediately. Maya watched through the viewport as the Aurora's engines ignited, carrying her daughter away from danger and toward safety among the outer planets. Maya ran toward emergency shelter Alpha, but the corridor ahead suddenly filled with smoke and debris. A section of the station's outer hull had been breached, and the automatic systems were struggling to contain the damage. She diverted toward Medical Bay 7, where her expertise might be needed to treat radiation exposure among the remaining evacuees. The Aurora's boarding ramp sealed shut just as another alarm began sounding. The station's primary reactor was experiencing containment failures, and all remaining personnel needed to reach emergency shelters immediately. Maya watched through the viewport as the Aurora's engines ignited, carrying her daughter away from danger and toward safety among the outer planets. Maya ran toward emergency shelter Alpha, but the corridor ahead suddenly filled with smoke and debris. A section of the station's outer hull had been breached, and the automatic systems were struggling to contain the damage. She diverted toward Medical Bay 7, where her expertise might be needed to treat radiation exposure among the remaining evacuees. The medical bay had become a disaster zone. Dr. Patterson and his team were treating dozens of people suffering from various degrees of radiation sickness. Maya joined the effort, using her knowledge of alien physiology to help treat the station's diverse population. Hours passed in a blur of medical procedures and emergency protocols. The final evacuation ship departed just as the station's artificial gravity began to fluctuate. Maya had volunteered to stay behind with the emergency response team, ensuring that everyone else reached safety before the station became uninhabitable. She thought of Luna constantly, imagining her daughter safe aboard the Aurora, probably sleeping in one of the ship's comfortable passenger quarters. Maya's personal communicator had lost contact with the evacuation fleet hours ago, but she assumed this was due to the solar storm's interference with long-range communications. The Aurora was equipped with the best navigation and life support systems available, and Dr. Ross was an experienced caregiver. Luna would be fine until Maya could join her at the refugee center on New Geneva Colony. The station shuddered violently as NO. Their hull breach opened near the medical bay. Emergency containment fields activated, but they were clearly failing under the intense radiation bombardment. Maya and the remaining team members moved toward the central emergency shelter, the most heavily shielded area of the station. Maya never made it to the shelter. A support beam, weakened by repeated radiation strikes, collapsed across the medical bay corridor just as she was helping an injured Altarian engineer toward safety. The beam struck her across the back and shoulders, pinning her beneath twisted metal and sparking electrical systems. Darkness claimed her as the station's emergency lighting finally failed. Her last conscious thought a prayer that Luna was safe among the stars. The rescue teams wouldn't find Maya for another 72 hours, buried beneath debris in what had once been Kepler Station's pride, its state-of-the-art medical facility. When they finally pulled her from the wreckage, Maya's body was broken but alive, sustained by the emergency medical beacon in her jacket and the hope that somewhere in the galaxy, her daughter was waiting for her return. The reunion, Maya's consciousness returned slowly, like swimming up from the depths of a dark ocean toward a distant light. The first sensation was pain, radiating from her back and shoulders in waves that made her gasp. The second was the antiseptic smell of a medical facility, though not the familiar sense of Kepler Station. This place smelled different, cleaner somehow, with undertones of recycled air and advanced medical equipment. Her eyes opened to reveal a pristine white ceiling, marked with the logo of New Geneva Medical Center. A holographic display near her bed showed her vital signs in steady, reassuring patterns. Maya tried to sit up, but gentle hands pressed her back against the pillows. Dr. Amanda Foster, whom Maya recognized from xenobiological conferences, appeared in her field of vision with a concerned expression. Dr. Foster explained that Maya had been in a medically induced coma for 3 weeks while her body healed from severe trauma. Multiple vertebrae had been fractured, her left shoulder had been dislocated, and she had suffered significant radiation exposure during her final hours on Kepler Station. The medical team had worked around the clock to repair the damage, using advanced regenerative techniques that would allow her to make a full recovery. Maya's first coherent question was about Luna. Dr. Foster's expression shifted, becoming more guarded as she called for Dr. Patterson, who had survived the station's destruction and was now coordinating the refugee assistance program. When Patterson entered the room, Maya could see the weight of bad news in his tired eyes. The Aurora had never reached New Geneva Colony. 48 hours into its journey, the ship had experienced a catastrophic engine failure while passing through the outer asteroid belt. Emergency protocols had forced an immediate landing on Titan 7, a remote moon with a barely breathable atmosphere and extreme weather conditions. The ship's distress beacon had been damaged in the landing, making it nearly impossible to locate. Maya's world collapsed again. Her body might be healing, but her heart felt shattered beyond repair. Patterson explained that search and rescue operations had been ongoing for 2 weeks, but Titan 7's severe electromagnetic storms made aerial reconnaissance extremely difficult. The moon's surface was covered in ice and rock formations that could hide a crashed ship for months. Against every medical recommendation, Maya demanded to be released from the medical center. Her legs were still weak, and her back ached with every movement, but the thought of Luna alone and possibly injured on a hostile moon drove her beyond the limits of physical discomfort. She threatened to discharge herself, against medical advice if necessary, and Dr. Foster reluctantly agreed to allow her to join the search mission in a limited capacity. The rescue ship Prometheus was equipped with the most advanced scanning technology available, but even its sophisticated sensors struggled to penetrate Titan 7's atmospheric interference. Maya sat in the ship's observation deck, staring at the moon's frozen surface through the viewport, her hands pressed against the glass in a gesture that reminded her painfully of Luna's favorite way of looking at the stars. Captain Maria Santos, who commanded the Prometheus, had children of her own, and understood Maya's desperation. She allowed Maya to remain on the bridge during search operations, hoping that the xenobiologist's knowledge of Zephyrian physiology might provide clues about Luna's survival capabilities. Maya explained that Zephyrian children could enter a form of metabolic hibernation during extreme stress, slowing their life processes to extend survival time. On the fourth day of searching, Maya's expertise proved invaluable. The ship's sensors detected a faint energy signature emanating from a deep canyon near the moon's southern pole. The reading was unlike anything in their databases, but Maya recognized it immediately. It was the unique electromagnetic pattern produced by Zephyrian crystalline physiology under extreme duress. The away team descended into the canyon using powered suits designed for hostile environment exploration. Maya insisted on joining them despite her recent injuries, arguing that her knowledge of Zephyrian biology made her essential to any rescue attempt. Captain Santos reluctantly agreed, but assigned 2 team members specifically to monitor Maya's condition. The Aurora lay twisted and broken at the bottom of the canyon, its hull scarred by impact damage and covered in a layer of ice that had formed from the ship's vented atmosphere. Emergency lights still flickered in some sections, suggesting that the ship's backup power systems had managed to maintain minimal life support for weeks. Maya was the first to enter the Aurora through its emergency airlock. The ship's interior was dark and cold, but she could hear something that made her heart race: the soft, crystalline chimes that indicated Zephyrian life signs. She followed the sound through the ship's twisted corridors, her emergency light cutting through the darkness like hope made tangible. In the Aurora's main passenger compartment, Maya discovered something that defied every assumption about survival and sacrifice. Luna sat in the center of a group of 23 children, her small body glowing with an intense crystalline light that formed a protective dome around the entire group. The other children, humans and aliens alike, were unconscious but clearly alive, their breath visible in the cold air. Luna had been maintaining this protective barrier for 3 weeks, using her own life energy to keep the other children alive while the ship's systems failed around them. Her crystalline skin had become nearly transparent, and her opalescent eyes were dim with exhaustion. When she saw Maya, her telepathic abilities were too weak to broadcast anything stronger than a whisper of recognition and overwhelming relief. Maya approached slowly, not wanting to disrupt the energy field that had kept so many children alive. She reached through the barrier and touched Luna's face, feeling the familiar warmth of her daughter's crystalline skin. The contact sent a weak but unmistakable pulse of love and trust into Maya's mind, the same sensation she had treasured for years. Something remarkable happened when Maya took Luna into her arms. The child's crystalline matrix, which had been steadily failing after weeks of maintaining the protective barrier, began to stabilize. Maya's human touch, charged with intense emotional energy and unconditional love, provided exactly what Luna's depleted physiology needed to beg. In recovery, Dr. Ross, who had been unconscious among the protected children, awakened as Luna's barrier finally dissolved. She explained that Luna had saved them all during the crash, instinctively creating the protective dome when the ship's life support began failing. The child had maintained this barrier through sheer determination and an understanding that the other children depended on her. The rescue operation became a celebration as all 24 children were successfully evacuated from the Aurora. Luna remained in Maya's arms throughout the journey back to New Geneva, her crystalline skin gradually regaining its healthy glow as her mother's presence restored her depleted energy reserves. Medical examinations revealed something unprecedented in xenobiological research. Luna's extended use of her protective abilities, combined with Maya's emotionally charged healing touch, had created new neural pathways in the child's brain. These pathways allowed for more efficient energy management and enhanced empathic abilities that could potentially benefit her entire species. Word of Maya and Luna's story spread throughout the galaxy within days. The Zephyrian High Council, traditionally isolationist, sent representatives to study the unprecedented bond between human and Zephyrian. They were amazed to discover that human emotional energy could not only stabilize Zephyrian physiology, but actually enhance their natural abilities. Maya's research took on new significance as she documented Luna's recovery and the unique physiological changes that resulted from their separation and reunion. Her findings suggested that interspecies adoption could provide benefits beyond simple family formation, potentially leading to evolutionary advantages for both species involved. 6 months after the reunion, Maya and Luna attended the first interspecies family support conference on Earth. Luna, now healthier and more vibrant than ever before, served as both inspiration and living proof that love truly could transcend the boundaries of biology. Her telepathic abilities had grown stronger, and she could now communicate basic concepts with humans who lacked telepathic sensitivity. Maya stood at the conference podium, holding Luna's hand as she addressed an audience of hundreds of mixed families from across the galaxy. She spoke of the challenges they had faced, the fear and separation that had nearly destroyed them both, and the incredible strength they had discovered in their bond. Her voice carried the authority of lived experience as she advocated for better support systems for interspecies families. Luna's crystalline skin glowed softly as she listened to her mother speak, her telepathic broadcasts sending waves of love and contentment to every sensitive being in the audience. The child's mere presence had become a symbol of hope, proof that the universe was vast enough for all kinds of families to flourish. As Maya concluded her speech, she looked down at Luna and saw her own reflection in the child's opalescent eyes. They had both been changed by their experiences, made stronger by the trials they had endured together. The love between them had not only survived separation and near death, but had evolved into something that could heal others and bridge the gaps between worlds. The conference ended with the establishment of the Maya Chen Foundation for Interspecies Family Support, providing resources and advocacy for mixed families throughout the galaxy. Maya and Luna returned to their new home on New Geneva, where Maya continued her research while Luna grew into a remarkable child whose very existence proved that family was indeed defined by love rather than genetics. Their story became legend among the stars, a testament to the power of human determination and the unbreakable bonds that connect hearts across the vast distances of space and species. Maya and Luna had not just reunited, they had pioneered a new understanding of what it meant to be family in an age when the universe itself was their neighborhood.